The new Balance Vazee Pace V2, although if I was going to name it, I'd call it something like Snappy McSnappy from Snapville, which is probably why I don't work for a shoe company. So this is the new Balance Vazee Pace, the second version, the updated version. This is your road-going shoe, but you're lighter weight, less cushioning. For those of you who don't want lots of chunky cushioning, you want a lighter shoe, you want maybe a reduced height, you want a bit more snap, hence the name, I think it should be called. You want something more lively, something more up-tempo, shall we say. This is really what New Balance are pitching this shoe as. You're talking a 6mm heel to toe drop. It's obviously of a neutral persuasion. You've got your traditional kind of mesh upper with some welded overlays. It's quite swanky looking, I think. You've got plenty of rubber underneath there, and you have their Revlite midsole. New Balance are saying that this is giving you still decent amount of cushioning, but using less foam with their Revlite technology. This shoe is an 11.5 because I'd read and heard and been told that you kind of want to go up half a size with this, and I have had that before with New Balance. For an 11.5, this is coming in weighing 306 grams or 10 3/4 ounces. So it's a little bit light. It's not super light, but it's a little bit light. And in terms of flexibility, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not super flexible. It's still sort of a little bit stiff, but yeah, pretty good. So that's the basics. Let's get into what I think is great and what's not so great. So things that I think is great, as I kind of mentioned, it's quite a good looking shoe. Comes in a variety of different colorways. This is obviously the very subtle yellow. Maybe not that subtle, with the black. I like it though. I think one of the things I like about this shoe is it looks like a sort of a quicker shoe. It's got that sort of look that says, yeah, I'm all about the speed. And I like that. I like shoes that look like what they are or what they do. So yeah, that's a thumbs up there. The outsole performs very well. It's nice and grippy, no slip, no issues. I did hear people say on the first version, because it had a different layout on the foam, that it was sometimes giving like a weird noise, like a clacky kind of noise if they, depending on how their foot struck the ground. No issues, no funny noises coming there. So the changes that they made, depending if that happened to you, this is no longer a thing, which is all good. As I mentioned, I have gone up half a size with this shoe. Going up half a size though, I have found that there is a nice bit of room here in the toe box. There's enough room for your toes to splay. And I think all in all, I found the upper to be actually a comfortable shoe. And as soon as I put it on, I thought, yeah, this feels good. And not only does it feel good, it also feels well made. It feels robust. I think this is a shoe that would give you good longevity. I've done a good few runs in it now. I've enjoyed the runs that I've done, and yeah, I think it's going to go on for a long time. It does feel well constructed. But it's not all pies and gravy. What are the things that maybe aren't so great? Well, sizing, as I mentioned, I have heard that some people are having some issues with sizing. For me, going up half a size felt fine, and I'm really happy with the size shoe that I've got by going up half a size. But I have read online that a couple of people are struggling a little bit, so might be worth trying them on if you can. And the other thing, although I am enjoying the ride, and this is more of a classification really than a criticism, the foam, the cushioning, although they say that the Revlite gives you the same amount of cushioning with less foam, yeah, I'm not really buying that one. I like the ride for this shoe as an up-tempo shoe, as a running shoe. In other words, for 5k, 10k, 10 milers. In fact, I'm not even sure I'd do a 10 miler in this, but I'm sure there are many people who would quite happily, and I'm sure there's people who go much further than 10 miles. However, for me and how I run, yeah, 5k, 10k, definitely. And I could definitely see some people doing a little bit more than that. I think if I was going to do a lot more miles, I'd want a bit more cushioning. I think to be fair to New Balance, they have built this shoe to be a quicker shoe, a tempo shoe, a shoe that you would take to a 5k race or a 10k race, or a shoe where if you're going to do some interval work or something like that. So in that context, the fact that there is really not much cushioning is okay. I find the ride, as per the initial intro, to be quite snappy, and I like that. I did a 5-mile race in this a little while ago, and I set a good time for me. You know, it's a good time for me, slow for others, but for me, I was really happy with it. And the shoe felt good. It felt like it wanted to go. And when I was wearing it, I was thinking, this is a brilliant shoe, because I had a good race and I had a good time. And yeah, so I think for those shorter distances, this is a great option. If you're able to have a shoe for those quicker days, those tempo days, those maybe interval runs or the shorter races, I think this, fantastic choice. If you wanted it to do longer runs as well, if you want effectively one shoe to try to do everything, I'm not so sure. I think the lack of cushioning would get me down after a while for longer runs. So with the caveat of shorter runs, great. Longer runs, not so great. What that is going to translate to you with your distance in running, I don't know. That's going to be down to you. I can only tell you how I perceive it. But for those shorter distance runs, I find this to be a fun shoe. Another little point as well, I have tried doing sort of shorter runs when my legs have been tired. In other words, maybe the day after a long run. And again, I found myself wanting cushioning. So I think this is, in my personal opinion, only for the days when you want to up the tempo, when your legs feel fresh and you're thinking, yeah, here we go, let's do a fast run today. Then I think this is good, but probably only for those types of scenarios. So maybe a little bit niche, not a shoe for all occasions, but I think with that in mind, with the shoe for those specific occasions, for me, it's great fun. I've enjoyed running in it. I do find it snappy. I do find that I do like the ride, although it doesn't have much cushioning. Within the context that we've mentioned, I think it's great. In fact, I've had so much fun with it, I think it's a 5-star shoe, because I've just enjoyed myself. And you know, sometimes you want a shoe that is not a full-on lightweight race shoe, but this is very close to that. It's got that kind of snappy feel. So yeah, it's good fun. It's worth a try. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.